We all have moments in our lives that stop us in our tracks. A quiet evening, a beautiful sunset, a look into the eyes of someone we love. And in those quiet moments, a question can sometimes whisper in the back of our minds. It is the one question that connects every single one of us, no matter who we are, where we live, or what we believe. It is the question of what happens when all of this is over: death. The word itself can feel heavy, can't it? It can feel like a door shutting, a final curtain call on the beautiful, messy, wonderful show of our lives. We spend so much of our time running, building, and dreaming, but underneath it all is this universal truth: our time here is limited. This fear is something we rarely talk about out loud. We might whisper about it after a funeral, or think about it late at night when the house is still. But we don't bring it to the dinner table. We don't discuss it over coffee with our friends. It feels too big, too scary, too final. It's the great unknown, the one journey we must all take alone. We are afraid of leaving behind the people we love. We are afraid of the pain we might feel. We are afraid of disappearing, of our stories and our memories fading away like footprints in the sand. This shared, unspoken fear is one of the most powerful forces in our lives, shaping our choices in ways we don't even realize. But what if I told you that looking at this fear, truly looking at it, could be the key to unlocking a more vibrant and meaningful life? What if facing this ultimate uncertainty could bring you a sense of peace you never thought possible? I believe that our greatest fears hold our greatest opportunities for growth. The fear of death is not just about an ending. It is about how we choose to live. It is a powerful invitation to wake up, to be present, and to cherish every single moment we are given. It asks us to live with intention, with love, and with a deep sense of gratitude for the incredible gift of being alive right here, right now. So let's take a deep breath together. Let's be brave enough to sit with this question. Let's explore why this fear has such a hold on us. We will look at where it comes from, how it shows up in our lives, and most importantly, how we can begin to transform it. This is not a journey into darkness. It is a journey into light. It is about understanding that the shadow of our mortality is what makes the light of our lives shine so incredibly brightly. By the end of our time together, my hope is that you will see that accepting our final chapter is not about giving up. It is about finally learning how to truly, deeply, and wholeheartedly live. Let's start at the very beginning. I mean the very beginning. Think about our earliest ancestors, living out on the savannah thousands and thousands of years ago. Their world was filled with dangers. A saber-toothed tiger hiding in the tall grass. A poisonous snake coiled on a rock. A sudden storm or a lack of food. Their lives were a constant negotiation with survival. Every single day, their bodies and minds were on high alert, programmed for one essential purpose: to stay alive. This powerful, deep-seated drive to live is etched into our very DNA. It is a gift from our ancestors, a biological inheritance that has been passed down through countless generations. This instinct is not just a vague idea, it is a physical reality within us. Our brains have a special little alarm system called the amygdala. This is our fear center. When it senses a threat, whether it's a speeding car or just the thought of something scary, it sounds the alarm. It floods our bodies with hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Our hearts beat faster, our breathing quickens, and our muscles tense up. This is the fight or flight response. It is our body's ancient automatic way of preparing us to either confront a danger or run away from it as fast as we can. This system is designed to keep us safe from immediate physical harm. The challenge for us today is that our modern world is very different, but our brains are still running on this ancient software. Our fear of death is the ultimate expression of this survival instinct. It is the fight or flight response reacting to the biggest threat of all, the complete end of our physical existence. Our biology screams danger because, from a purely survival standpoint, death is the ultimate failure. Our bodies are magnificent machines built for living, breathing, and continuing on. The thought of all that stopping triggers our most primal, deeply rooted alarm bells. It's not a flaw, it's a feature of our design. So when you feel that jolt of anxiety at the thought of mortality, know that it is a natural biological reaction. It is your body doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is the echo of 1,000,000 years of survival, a testament to the strength and resilience of life itself. Understanding this biological root is the first step. It allows us to have compassion for ourselves. We can say, okay, I see you, fear. I know where you come from. You are trying to protect me. This simple acknowledgement can begin to soften the fear's grip, allowing us to look beyond the purely physical and explore the deeper meanings of our lives and our fears. While our survival instinct is a universal human trait, the way we experience and express our fear of death is not the same everywhere. Our culture is like a powerful pair of glasses that shapes how we see the world, and that includes how we see its end. In many modern Western societies, we have become experts at avoiding the topic of death. We hide it away in hospitals and funeral homes. We use soft words like passed away or lost instead of saying the word died. We celebrate youth and vitality, and we push aging and mortality into the shadows, as if we can keep them at bay by simply refusing to look at them. This culture of avoidance can make death feel even more terrifying. When something is hidden and unspoken, it becomes a source of great anxiety and mystery. We are not given the tools or the language to process it. Children are often shielded from funerals and conversations about loss, leaving them to figure it out on their own. We see death portrayed in movies and on the news, but it is often distant and sensationalized, not the quiet, natural process it is for most. This lack of open, honest conversation creates a vacuum, and that vacuum gets filled with our deepest fears and unanswered questions, making the whole subject feel overwhelming and isolating. Now, let's look at other parts of the world, where the glasses are very different. In places like Mexico, they celebrate Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. This is not a sad or scary time. It is a vibrant, joyful celebration. Families gather in cemeteries to clean the graves of their loved ones, share food, play music, and tell stories. They build beautiful altars in their homes, filled with photos, favorite foods, and flowers, to welcome the spirits of their ancestors back for a visit. Here, death is not seen as an ending, but as a natural part of the cycle of life. It is integrated into the community, remembered with love and celebration, not hidden away in fear. This shows us something so important. Our fear of death is not just biological, it is also learned. In cultures where death is embraced as a part of life, people are given a framework for understanding it. They are taught rituals and beliefs that help them navigate grief and maintain a connection with those who have passed. This doesn't mean they don't feel sadness or loss, of course, they do. But the fear is different. It is not a terrifying, isolating monster in the dark. It is a shared human experience, one that can be met with community, with ritual, and even with beauty. This tells us that if fear can be learned, it can also be unlearned. We have the power to change our perspective. Now, let's go a little deeper into our minds. Psychologists have spent a lot of time trying to understand why the thought of our own mortality can be so unsettling. One of the most powerful ideas they have come up with is called terror management theory. It sounds complicated, but the idea behind it is actually quite simple. It suggests that we humans are unique because we have this brilliant, complex brain that allows us to think about the past, the future, and abstract ideas. But this same brilliant brain also makes us aware of a terrifying fact. We are going to die. This awareness creates a potential for overwhelming terror. So how do we manage this terror? How do we get up every day and live our lives without being paralyzed by fear? According to this theory, we do it by creating and believing in cultural worldviews, our religions, our national identities, our family values. These belief systems give our lives a sense of meaning, order, and permanence. They make us feel like we are part of something bigger and more lasting than our individual, mortal selves. When we live up to the standards of our worldview, we feel good about ourselves. We develop self-esteem, which acts as a shield against the anxiety of our mortality. Think about it. We strive to be a good parent, a successful professional, a patriotic citizen, or a devout follower of our faith. We build monuments, write books, create art, and have children. In many ways, these are all attempts to leave a mark, to create something that will live on after we are gone. This is what psychologists call a quest for symbolic immortality. If our physical bodies can't last forever, maybe our name, our ideas, or our legacy can. By investing in these larger belief systems and building our self-worth, we create a psychological buffer that keeps the raw fear of death at a distance, allowing us to function with purpose and hope. This gives us incredible insight into so much of human behavior. It helps explain why we are so protective of our beliefs and why we sometimes feel threatened by people who are different from us. It is because our worldview is our primary defense against our deepest existential fear. But it also shows us the beautiful, creative, and powerful drive we have to make our lives matter. We are meaning-seeking creatures. We yearn to feel that our short time on this planet has a purpose. Understanding this helps us see that our ambitions and our values are not just random. They are part of our profound human attempt to find a sense of peace in the face of life's greatest mystery. So, what happens when the moment actually arrives? What does science, with all its powerful tools and brilliant minds, have to say about the end of life? For centuries, this question belonged only to religion and philosophy. But now, science is beginning to explore this final frontier. From a purely biological perspective, the answer is quite clear. Death is the irreversible cessation of all vital functions, particularly the heartbeat, breathing, and brain activity. When the brain is deprived of oxygen, its cells begin to shut down, and the complex network of electrical and chemical signals that creates our thoughts, memories, and consciousness fades away. This clinical definition, while accurate, can feel cold and incomplete. It doesn't capture the human experience of what is happening. This is where things get more interesting and, honestly, more mysterious. Some scientists are studying what are known as near-death experiences, or NDEs. These are the profound psychological events reported by people who have been on the brink of death, perhaps during cardiac arrest, and were later revived. Millions of people from all over the world have shared strikingly similar stories. A feeling of floating out of their body, moving through a tunnel toward a brilliant light, and experiencing an overwhelming sense of peace and unconditional love. Now, science has several possible explanations for these experiences. Some researchers believe they could be caused by a lack of oxygen to the brain, which might trigger unusual neural activity. Others suggest they could be the result of a flood of endorphins and other brain chemicals released under extreme stress, creating a sense of euphoria. These are plausible biological explanations. However, what is truly fascinating is the consistency of the reports across different cultures and belief systems. People who have had NDEs are often profoundly changed by them. They tend to lose their fear of death, become more compassionate, and feel a greater sense of purpose in their lives. Ultimately, science cannot yet give us a definitive answer about what, if anything, happens to our consciousness after our brain stops functioning. Consciousness itself is one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in all of science. We don't fully understand how the physical matter of our brain creates the rich subjective experience of being me. Is consciousness something that is produced by the brain like a generator producing electricity? Or is the brain more like a radio receiver, tuning into a signal of consciousness that might exist outside of it? For now, science leaves us with a profound sense of humility and wonder. It can describe the process of dying, but the experience of death remains a mystery. For thousands of years, long before science began to ask these questions, humanity has turned to spirituality and religion for answers about life's greatest mystery. These traditions offer powerful narratives that have brought comfort and meaning to countless people facing their own mortality. They provide a map for the journey, a way of understanding death not as a final stop, but as a transition. In Christianity, for example, death is seen as a doorway to an eternal life with God. The belief in resurrection and heaven provides a profound sense of hope, suggesting that physical death is not the end of the soul's existence, but the beginning of a new, glorious chapter. Other traditions offer different, but equally compelling perspectives. In Eastern religions like Hinduism and Buddhism, the concept of reincarnation is central. They teach that life is a cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, known as samsara. Our consciousness, or soul, does not disappear but is reborn into a new body. The conditions of our next life are shaped by the actions, or karma, of our current one. This view transforms death from a one-time event into a recurring part of a much larger journey of spiritual evolution. The goal is not to live forever in one life, but to eventually break free from the cycle of rebirth and achieve a state of ultimate peace and liberation, or nirvana. But what if you don't follow a specific religious path? Many people today find meaning in more secular or humanistic philosophies. A secular view might see death as the natural and final end of an individual's life. There is no supernatural afterlife, no soul that continues on. But this does not mean life is without meaning. On the contrary, it can make this life even more precious. It encourages us to find meaning in our connections with others, in the beauty of the natural world, and in the legacy we leave behind. The focus shifts from an eternal future to making the most of the one beautiful life we have right here and now. Whether it's the promise of heaven, the cycle of rebirth, or the simple, profound beauty of a finite life, each of these belief systems offers a powerful way to frame our mortality. They are all human attempts to answer the same deep questions. What is the purpose of my life? What happens when I am gone? Is this all there is? What these diverse traditions show us is that there is no single right answer. They are different languages for speaking about the same universal mystery. They remind us that for centuries, people have found strength, courage, and peace by embracing a story that gives their life and their death a sense of profound meaning. So, we have looked at the biology, the culture, the psychology, and the spirituality of our fear of death. Now we come to the most important question of all. What do we do with it? How do we move from being controlled by this fear to finding freedom in its presence? The answer, I believe, is not to fight the fear or to pretend it doesn't exist. The answer is to turn toward it with courage and curiosity. It is to accept our mortality not with a sense of defeat, but with a sense of profound appreciation for the life it makes possible. Acceptance is the key that unlocks the door from fear to freedom. One of the most powerful ways to practice this acceptance is to live more fully in the present moment. So often, we are lost in thoughts about the past or worries about the future. We miss the beauty of what is right in front of us. The practice of mindfulness, of simply paying attention to our breath, to the sensations in our body, to the sights and sounds around us, can be transformative. It anchors us in the here and now. When you are fully present, you realize that this moment is all you ever truly have. And in this moment, you are alive. This simple, profound truth, when experienced directly, can dissolve anxiety and fill you with a deep sense of gratitude. Another beautiful way to transform our fear is to think about our legacy. This doesn't mean you have to build an empire or become famous. A legacy is simply about the love you share, the kindness you offer, and the positive impact you have on the people around you. It's in the lessons you teach your children, the support you give a friend, the passion you bring to your work, or the garden you plant for others to enjoy. When you focus on creating a legacy of love and contribution, you are investing in something that will ripple outward long after you are gone. This shifts your focus from the fear of ending to the joy of giving. Finally, allow yourself to explore the big questions. Don't be afraid to wonder. Read about different spiritual traditions. Talk with people you trust about their beliefs. Spend time in nature and feel your connection to something larger than yourself. Whether you find your answers in faith, in science, in philosophy, or simply in the quiet wisdom of your own heart, the act of seeking is what matters. It is a journey of discovery that enriches your life. Facing our mortality is not about finding one perfect answer about death. It is about discovering 1,000 beautiful reasons to live. It is about waking up to the precious, fleeting, and incredible gift of your life. In the end, maybe we have been asking the wrong question all along. Maybe the question is not, why are we afraid of death? But is our fear of death keeping us from truly living? I have come to believe that mortality is not a curse. It is a gift. It is the secret ingredient that gives life its flavor, its urgency, its sweetness. It is the finite number of our days that makes each one so infinitely precious. Think about it. If we had all the time in the world, would we love so fiercely? Would we chase our dreams with such passion? Would we cherish a simple, perfect sunset with such awe? I don't think so. Accepting that our time is limited is what calls us to be brave. It is what pushes us to say, I love you more often, to forgive more easily, and to take the chances we might otherwise put off for us someday that may never come. It is the ultimate wake-up call. It shakes us from our slumber and asks us, what will you do with this one wild and precious life you have been given? It invites us to stop sleepwalking through our days and to start showing up for them, fully awake, fully present, and with a heart wide open to both the joy and the sorrow. This is the transformation that is possible for every single one of us. When we can hold the awareness of death in one hand and the joy of life in the other, we find a new kind of balance. We learn to live with a deeper sense of peace, knowing that we are a part of a grand, mysterious cycle. We are not separate from nature, we are a part of it. Like a leaf that sprouts in the spring, shines in the summer, and falls in the autumn to nourish the earth, our lives have their season, and each season is beautiful and necessary. Embracing this truth doesn't mean you won't feel sadness when you lose someone you love. It doesn't mean you won't have moments of fear. It means that underneath it all, you will have a foundation of peace. So, here's my invitation to you. Let's make a promise to ourselves, starting today. Let's promise to stop running from the one thing that can teach us the most about living. Let's embrace the truth of our mortality and let it guide us toward a life of greater courage, deeper love, and more profound gratitude. Let the knowledge that it will all end be the very thing that inspires you to begin. To truly begin right now, to live the most vibrant, the most authentic, and the most beautiful life you can imagine. For in the acceptance of our final goodbye, we find the most powerful hello to the life that is waiting for us. A daily practice for gratitude. Each morning, before you get out of bed, take just 1 minute. Place your hand on your heart Feel it beating. Take 3 deep, conscious breaths. With the first breath, think, I am grateful for this body that carries me. With the second breath, think, I am grateful for this day that is ahead of me. And with the third breath, think, I am grateful for this one precious life. Let this simple act be your anchor, a daily reminder of the incredible gift you have been given.